Big Boy Dex, he's a big boy Dex. Big Boy Dex, he's a big boy Dex. Hey, if you like bad intros and trivia, then you're in the right place. This is 5 Clue Trivia presented by Big Boy Dex. Whether you're on a road trip, stuck in traffic, working out on a treadmill, or bored at work, this trivia game will challenge your mind while passing the time. So let's get started. This is episode 3, National Football League, part 1. Let's kick it off. So an interesting story to start this off. This first player discovered who his father was because he had a crush on his neighbor's daughter, only to find out she was his sister and his neighbor was his father. He played college basketball at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, and played in the 1995 NCAA basketball tournament. He's the only player in NFL history to score a touchdown against all 32 teams. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2018, but he skipped the ceremony in Canton to host his own party in Tennessee. He was known for his touchdown celebrations, including one where he signed the football with a Sharpie that he had tucked into his sock. I bet you remember that. Here's a quick recap to help you figure it out if you don't know already. He discovered his father was his neighbor at the age of 10. He played in the 1995 NCAA basketball tournament while in college at University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. He scored a touchdown versus all 32 NFL teams, the only player to ever do that. He hosted his own Hall of Fame party, and he was known for his touchdown celebrations. I'll let you think about it a little bit longer. Can you believe that touchdown celebration when he pulled out the Sharpie was way back in 2002? Yeah, he once had another infamous celebration when he ran out to the middle of the Dallas Star while playing against the Cowboys, a team he would later play for in his career. You guessed it, the answer is Terrell Owens, and antics aside, this guy was actually a really great player. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This next player played college football at Southern Mississippi, and he actually began his freshman year as a 7th-string quarterback. They actually wanted him to play cornerback. He was drafted with the 33rd overall pick in the 1991 NFL Draft by the Atlanta Falcons. He holds the NFL record for most consecutive games started with 297 straight games, 321 if you include the playoffs. He holds the NFL record for the most career interceptions with 336 interceptions. And lastly, he was the first quarterback ever to defeat all 32 NFL teams. Think you know him? Here's the 5 clue recap to help in case you don't. He played college at Southern Miss and he was the 7th-string quarterback during his freshman year. He was drafted 33rd overall in 1991 by the Atlanta Falcons. He holds the NFL record for most consecutive games started. He holds the NFL record for most interceptions. And he's the first quarterback to beat all NFL teams. Give you a few more seconds to think about it. He's also the only player to win 3 consecutive MVP awards. It's the gunslinger, Brett Favre. And he holds so many different records that I could have thrown up here as part of this trivia, but I think bottom line is he was just a fun player to watch. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Some say this next player could have played professional basketball, and you can see why. He averaged 24.3 points, 8.8 rebounds, and 4.7 assists on his high school varsity basketball team. His 97.1 quarterback rating is the highest among retired players who never appeared in a Super Bowl. He holds the NFL record for most consecutive regular season road games with at least 1 touchdown, 41 games. He played college football at Eastern Illinois University and was not drafted. And lastly, he's the Dallas Cowboys' all-time leading passer with over 34,000 passing yards and 248 passing touchdowns. Here's a quick recap. He was a good all-around high school basketball player, and it was even thought that he could play professionally. He's got the highest career quarterback rating for a player who never appeared in the Super Bowl. He had a touchdown in 41 straight road games. He was undrafted out of Eastern Illinois, and he's the Cowboys' all-time leading passer. Give you a few more seconds to think about it. It's Tony Romo. And I purposely put him here because he said many times that Brett Favre was his hero growing up. And you can understand why. Alright, let's go on to the next one. So we'll follow one good guy with another good guy. This player was drafted 4th overall by the Chicago Bears in the 1975 NFL Draft. He threw 8 touchdowns, which was most for a non-QB in the Super Bowl era. His nickname, Sweetness, is one that he got in college and it stuck with him. He passed away on November 1st, 1999, and he was only 45 years old at the time. And he holds the Chicago Bears record for the most total career touchdowns with 125 in his career. So again, he was drafted 4th overall by the Chicago Bears in 1975. He threw 8 touchdown passes, which is a record for non-quarterbacks in the Super Bowl era. He was nicknamed Sweetness. He passed away at 45 years old in 1999, and he holds the Bears franchise record for most career touchdowns with 125. I'll give you a few more seconds to think about it. Many consider him to be the best player of all time. The answer is Walter Payton, and he left such a legacy that the NFL Man of the Year award, which honors a player's volunteer and charity work, has been renamed the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year award. Alright, let's move on to the next one. So I'll test your memory a bit with this one. This player played college football at the University of Alabama and was drafted 19th overall by the Seattle Seahawks in the 2000 NFL Draft. He's the first athlete to be on the cover of both the NCAA football and Madden video games. He was named the NFL MVP in 2005. And twice in his career, he led the NFL in rushing touchdowns and combined rushing and receiving touchdowns. He's the Seattle Seahawks all-time leading rusher with 9,429 rushing yards and an even 100 rushing touchdowns. So again, he was drafted 19th overall by the Seattle Seahawks in the 2000 NFL Draft out of Alabama. He's the first athlete to be on both the NCAA football and Madden video game covers. He was NFL MVP in 2005, twice led the NFL in rushing touchdowns, and was Seattle's all-time leading rusher. I'll give you a few more seconds to think about it. Well, the answer is Shaun Alexander. And I'll just say, if you were playing fantasy football in the early 2000s, you definitely knew who this guy was. Alright, we're halfway there. 5 questions down, 5 questions to go. Did you get them all right? Even if you didn't get any. Big Boy Dex says quitting now would be a little boy thing to do. So let's keep going. So this next player was actually responsible for bringing the chop to the Atlanta Braves while playing with them in 1991. Something he had learned from his days at FSU. He's the only athlete ever to play in both the Super Bowl and a World Series. He once appeared in MC Hammer's Too Legit to Quit music video. 3 clues in and we've barely talked about football, but he was the 5th overall pick in the 1989 NFL Draft by the Atlanta Falcons. And he was given the nickname Prime Time, so I'm sure you know who it is by now. But here's your 5 clue recap anyways. He brought the chop to the Atlanta Braves while playing with them in 1991. Only player ever to play in the Super Bowl and the World Series. He was in the Too Legit to Quit music video from MC Hammer. He was the 5th overall pick by the Falcons in 1989 and was nicknamed Prime Time. Give you a few more seconds to think about it. Of course the answer is Deion Sanders, and it's said that when the Giants wanted to interview him before the draft and he found out they had the 10th pick, he said, "No thanks, I'll be gone before then." And he was right. Dude never lacked for confidence. Alright, let's move on. Well, if you've ever seen the movie, you'll probably know who this is right away. But the next player was in the movie Ace Ventura, Pet Detective with Jim Carrey. He played college football at the University of Pittsburgh and was drafted 27th overall by the Miami Dolphins. He holds 5 Monday Night Football records, including most passing yards, most touchdowns, and most wins. He won the NFL MVP in 1983 and Comeback Player of the Year in 1994. And he's the winningest quarterback to never win a Super Bowl with 155 career wins. So to recap, he was in the movie Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Played college football at Pitt and was drafted 27th overall by Miami. He holds 5 Monday Night Football records. He was MVP in 1983 and Comeback Player of the Year in 1994, and he's the winningest quarterback to never win a Super Bowl. I'll give you a few more seconds to think about it. Yeah, you guessed it. The answer is Dan Marino. And not only did he never win a Super Bowl, he actually only played in one when his Dolphins lost to the 49ers in 1985. Alright, let's go on to the next one. This next player was an undrafted free agent who was signed by the San Diego Chargers in 2004. He holds the NFL record for the most career punt returns with 264 punt returns, and he never returned one for a touchdown. He led the NFL in receptions in 2007, 2009, and 2011. He's the fastest player to ever record 500 receptions with one team, which only took him 70 games. And he holds the 4 highest single-season reception totals in New England Patriots history. Can you figure out who it is? Here's your quick recap while you think about it. He's an undrafted free agent who signed with San Diego in 2004, holds the record for most punt returns without a TD. 3 times he led the NFL in receptions. He's the fastest to 500 catches with one team, and he holds the 4 highest single-season reception totals in New England Patriots history. I'll let you think about it a few more seconds. The answer is Wes Welker, who set the standard for slot receivers. And if you want to set records for receiving, it helps to play with a good quarterback. And he got to play with Tom Brady in New England and play with Peyton Manning while he was in Denver. That's quite the duo. Alright, let's move on to question number 9. This next player played college football at Ole Miss and was drafted 1st overall by the San Diego Chargers. He ended his career with exactly 117 wins and 117 losses. He started 210 consecutive games from 2004 to 2017. He holds the NFL record for most passing yards in a single postseason with 1,219 yards in 2011. And he's a 2-time Super Bowl MVP, one of only 5 players to ever win multiple Super Bowl MVP awards. So again, he was drafted 1st overall by the San Diego Chargers out of Ole Miss. He had 117 wins and 117 losses in his career. He started 210 consecutive games. He held the most pass yards in a single postseason, and he was a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. Give you a few more seconds to think about it. Well, I just mentioned his brother in the prior answer, but the answer is Eli Manning, who never really seemed that good until it got playoff time. Alright, let's go on to question number 10, which I think is the most challenging one of the episode. The last player of the episode played college football at the University of Texas and was not drafted. In 2001, he won the Super Bowl while a member of the Baltimore Ravens. He led the NFL in combined rushing and receiving touchdowns in 2002 and in 2003. And in 2014, he was inducted into the Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Fame. And lastly, he holds the Kansas City Chiefs franchise record for career rushing touchdowns, with 76 rushing touchdowns. Do you remember who this is? Here's a quick recap while you think about it a little longer. He played college football at the University of Texas and was not drafted. He won the 2001 Super Bowl while with the Ravens. He led the NFL in combined rushing and receiving touchdowns in 2002 and in 2003. He was inducted into the Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Fame in 2014, and he holds the Kansas City Chiefs rushing touchdown record with 76. Well, do you remember Priest Holmes? Yeah, this guy was fun to watch. I seem to remember him always jumping over the pile from the 1 yard line to score a touchdown. He was really good at that. Anyways, if you got that one, great job. I thought that was the toughest one of the episode. And that wraps up the trivia for this episode. How'd you do? Did you get them all correct? Were you best in the show? Look, even if you were a bad little pup, there's going to be plenty of other episodes, many different trivia categories, so be sure to give those a shot. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, it's the funny looking dogs with short little legs and big ears that roam Buckingham Palace. Don't let your shortcomings hold you back. Until next time, stay Corgan, my friends.